What's up, my people? I'm your girl, Kavana. Welcome to Wrecked to Redeemed, where we confront the complex realities of racism and faith. In this video, I'm going to be giving you the backstory to Wrecked to Redeemed and why it means so much to me. Hopefully, it will become meaningful to you too. Introduced to the topic of racism in elementary school, where my teachers taught us about the civil rights movement through the movie Our Friend Martin. If you're a 90s kid, then you probably know what movie I'm talking about. But in case you don't, here's a quick rundown. So it comprises of a black boy, his white best friend, a Latina, and a white boy bully, whose class goes on a field trip to the childhood home of Martin Luther King, where they end up going back in time, meeting preteen Martin and experiencing the segregated Jim Crow South. Knowing Martin's inevitable end, they try to whisk him to the future, but quickly find out how dark the world would be without the fulfillment of his role in history. In the end, there was a celebration of broken racial barriers because of his life's work and how it paved the way to a greater quality of life for all people. After this movie ended, my teacher reiterated how wonderful it was that we lived in a world where all races can be friends because of the work of Martin Luther King Jr. And my reaction to that was, oh snap, I'm so glad that's over. Not only was I left with the feeling of hope, but also with the notion that racism itself was over. Now, neither my teacher nor the movie explicitly stated that. I don't want to get in trouble. That's not what the message was. But after watching the movie and considering my surroundings, that's what my 7-year-old mind drummed up. I lived in one of the most diverse counties in the nation. All of my friends were of different racial and ethnic backgrounds, and we got along just fine. Eventually, I came to believe that when it came to matters of racial injustice, I didn't think it existed. I honestly believed that when Black people pulled the race card, it was to intentionally assault someone's character. There will be times where I would witness a Black boy doing something he wasn't supposed to do, and they would get caught. They'll say,
"No, you're just saying that because I'm Black. You're just saying that because you are racist."
No boy, it's because you're trifling. Because I saw that repeatedly, when people would say that, it was not based on facts. Racism was over. People just needed to accept it and stop pointing the finger when you're doing something you have no business doing. When there were multiple killings of Black men, I didn't understand the uproar. I believe that police protect and serve the community. They put their lives on the line every day in order to ensure safety, peace, and order, only using force if necessary, because they are society's moral and lawful protectors. So if you truly didn't do anything wrong, Black man, you would not have run away at the sight of a cop. You would not have talked back or resisted arrest. And if you really weren't a threat to a police officer, then you would not have been shot dead. I know that you must be experiencing a mix of emotions right now. And yes, this is another day. This is days later. I did finish the video in my studio, but I wanted to do another take because I want for my heart to really show through. If you made it this far, thank you for continuing to watch, and thank you for allowing me to share my story. Like I said, you must be experiencing a mix of emotions right now. You may even be judging me, and I understand that. I decided to share the story with you all because it's been said time and time again that hard conversations need to be had in order for there to be deeper human understanding that'll hopefully lead to greater progress on this topic. And I, for one, am not afraid to have a platform to, subject myself to any scrutiny in order to accomplish that, because we do need honest conversations. We do need to be real about what's really going on in our hearts and in our minds and our thoughts, and how that translates into our actions or our reactions. Something that I recognize is that you may know someone, or you are the person who has had or has similar thoughts as I did. And those things need to be dealt with. I consider myself to have been the product of the whitewashed narrative that Martin Luther King came, the civil rights movement came, and that was the end-all, be-all to racism. Because of that narrative, one tends to believe that those who call out racial injustice as mere exaggerations, and that Black Lives Matter activists, social justice warriors, some people call them, that it's not as bad as they make it out to be. Focusing way too much on the negative. They're not acknowledging the positive enough. We're all moving forward in society. Why can't they just see it? Why can't we just celebrate that and just move on? I didn't realize how blinding, how much of a veil that is over our eyes. Because what God exposed to me, that was a tough pill to swallow. In 2016, Donald Trump's election and all of the racial tension surrounding that time, God revealed in me my apathy and my indifference and my complacency. And when I realized it, I was disgusted with myself. I couldn't believe I didn't see it before. I couldn't believe that I was so blind and so foolish. I cried and I repented for every Black life that I did not esteem or regard. The value of their humanity, the value of their personhood, and the violations that took place at their expense. I repented of that. And I lamented over the Black community as a whole for their suffering. And I say that because it was a suffering that I did not validate or identify with until that moment. Christ has shown me the power of a changed mind, a humbled heart, and a renewed perspective, both in my spiritual life and in community. And that is what I would love to take place for you in your heart on this issue. If you are an individual who would like to know or understand more on this issue and how it relates to our faith and what you can do about it, this is for you. And also for you, if you're ready to confront things within yourself that may be contributing to this issue without you even knowing it. If you're ready to challenge your beliefs and your ideas, then this is for you. And this is also for you if you're an individual who understands these things and has tried to speak up but have felt silenced or shoved to the side or made to feel like you are a troublemaker or a person who's trying to disrupt unity. This is for you too, because there's a lot of emotional wrestling that goes on when you experience that. This is what this is about. It is about voicing our confusion, frustrations, our anger, our desire to be heard, understood, to learn without being severely judged for it. This is for you because, again, honest, raw, and real conversation is what is going to move the needle towards real racial reconciliation, towards real racial justice, and what God lays out as biblical justice. One thing's for sure, there are many layers to this issue, and I'm no expert, but and I am learning. And as I'm learning, I am compelled to challenge and to educate and to learn from and grow with you in the process. Whether you're liberal or conservative, woke or asleep, Black or not, saint or ain't, but especially if you were saint, Black suffering, human suffering should matter to you. Oh, good Lord. My family's here. Okay, come here. Come here. Yes, human suffering should matter to you. So, if you were to subscribe to this channel, I'll serve you up with a new reason why and what you can do about it. Question of the day. Thank you, Ronan. Question of the day. What complex realities of racism and faith have you ever had to come into conflict with? Oh, thank you, Ronan. Thank you. Tell us your stories down below. I look forward to reading them. Talk to you soon. Bye.